Hello, America. Welcome to Common Sense. I'm Wendy Bell. You know, it seems a lot of people from all around the world have had enough of this woke liberal politics, right? The open border progressivism. And they've spoken pretty loudly. In fact, all across Europe, from Germany to Ireland and France to the Netherlands, right-wing parties are seeing these massive gains in support as the continent rejects aggressive climate change policies and pushes back hard against inflation. Who wouldn't? But it's kind of a mixed picture in Europe, much like here in America. While it seems the parliamentary landscape has been redrawn a bit to the right, not all of the EU countries trended that way, much the same way kind of here, where Oregon leans left, neighboring Idaho trends right. The EU is anything but unanimous. My question is, what's happening there, though, kind of a precursor to our national elections coming up here? Will our ruling liberal elite be stunned by a similar reckoning, or should we all kind of be wary of any mention of a 2024 red wave? Let's meet our panel of talk radio hosts from all across America, see what they think. Rich Valdez hosts Rich Valdez, America at Night on Westwood One Syndicated. I love it. Stacy Washington hosts Stacy on the Right on Sirius XM Radio in St. Louis. Hey, Stace. Carl DeMaio hosts the DeMaio Report on AM 600 KOGO out of San Diego and is the chairman of Reform California. You guys, this is crazy. 370 million people, 27 countries voted in this year's European elections. They sent this strong message to the incumbents, like enough with this new liberal world order. In France, President Emmanuel Macron stunned Europe by announcing he'd hold new legislative elections later this month. That's 3 years early, you guys, and right in the middle of preparations for the Paris Olympics after his party's shellacking by the right-wing National Rally. Did Macron dissolving Parliament, Carl, and calling for a snap election surprise you, or is this where we are?
It doesn't surprise me that we're seeing, even in Europe, where they're far more liberal than we are as a starting point, the voters there are rebelling because they are living under the insanity of open borders. They're living under the craziness of the Green New Deal, where they are seeing blackouts and brownouts, that their factories are having to shutter, that they're being told they can't have air conditioning. And so they're seeing all these bad policies and rebelling. Now, the national liberal media here in America will not focus on what you just pointed out, is this string of more center-right victories. What they will do is they will be talking about the British election in a few weeks. They'll be saying, see, Europe is trending left. It's part of a global movement. Let me tell you why we will likely see a Labour government in the UK is that their conservatives betrayed their conservative base and failed to deliver. So let that be a warning to American Republican politicians. If you betray your base, if you don't deliver, don't expect them to show up at the polls and keep you into office.
Right on. You know, in Germany, Chancellor Olaf Scholz and his Social Democrats got totally drubbed by this coalition of right-wing politicians. In Spain, the Conservative People's Party took 34% of the vote. And after months of farmers' protests, the Netherlands swung far right and saw this massive gain in exit polls. Stacy, what is the message, do you think, to the left? Or am I looking too deeply into this?
No, it's not. It's not too deeply at all. We can look across the pond when it favors conservatives. The left certainly beats us over the head with what leftists are doing in Europe all the time. That's the gender affirming care movement in a nutshell. Europeans are doing it. Why don't we do it? Now they've backed off of it and we're still on it. So I think it's great for us to look over there and see what's going on with populist movements, such as the one we have here in the United States, propelling Donald Trump back into office. So, of course, it's good to look there and get some encouragement, actually, Wendy.
I agree with you. And Rich, I understand you were just in Budapest at CPAC, and so you're the perfect person to answer this. While much of Europe trended to the right, though, I wonder what you think about this, because Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, they bucked the trend of the EU elections with left-wing and green parties making gains and far-right parties seeing their support diminish. In fact, Finland saw this surprise rise in support for the Socialist Left Alliance, 17% uptick in voter support. Why do you think such different results in these different regions vis-a-vis where you were in Budapest?
I think it's let's not make any mistake in thinking that there is a big liberal movement in Europe, right? I think that's kind of the lay of the land. So when you see these center-right politicians holding their seats and far-right parties gaining seats, That's a good thing because that's a populist movement catching some steam. But when I was in Budapest, I met people from all over Europe. We're talking about Spain and Portugal, and lots of populists, lots of conservatives, and the same message, the America First message. Believe it or not, these people are huge Trump fans. They would look at me and say, "Oh, you're from the U.S., America First," and they were from all over the place. So I was floored by this. I didn't think people cared about American. I certainly don't care about Swedish politics, right? I just don't. But they did. They cared about American politics, and they were, conversing with me about the politicians here. They were complaining about Mitch McConnell. So it was fascinating to me how they were up to speed on what's happening here, and they see that they don't call him leader of the free world for nothing, right? The president of the United States, and Joe Biden has charted a path forward globally that is atrocious, and the world is reacting to that. And I think that's why we're seeing exactly what we're seeing with all these right-wing parties picking up seats.
Right on. And Carl, the environmentalist Greens seem to be the biggest losers overall, at least in the parliament. They lost 20 seats. Do you think the Dutch farmers, they've been so amazing, and all these other farmers that have joined in on this can claim responsibility? The new climate laws, the outrageous diesel taxes. At some point, you have a last straw. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, as Stacy kind of alluded to, the Europeans have been suffering under the Green New Deal for many years, and they're rebelling against it. They realize that it absolutely bankrupts them. It destroys jobs. It eliminates convenience. It's not going to give you energy reliability and security. And so they're now pushing back. They're going in the opposite direction. But here in the United States, the left is full tilt all in. They want to do the electric vehicle mandates. They want to ban natural gas stoves. They want to eliminate any gas power plants. And so what we need to do is make sure people are warned by the devastating impacts that the Green New Deal has already had in Europe. If even the Europeans are rebelling against the enviros, we got to make sure that people understand what's about to hit us here in the United States and do a complete course correction.
And I think now the question for a lot of the new European Parliament, can the political right, Stacy, do you think in our country too, can we overcome our own differences, like our conservatives in Congress, maybe work to actually fix what voters clearly think the left has broken? Or is this deep state kind of uniparty thing, at least in America, too pervasive to chip through?
Well, it is until they go too far. And this past 3.5 years under Biden, Wendy, has been an example of how you can go too far. It's not just overplaying your hand. It's setting your own house on fire, stabbing yourself in the stomach. It's a horrible, violent, disgusting thing to see. And I love the way you just kind of nutshelled it on the energy issue. But I'll take it a step further. It's immigration. 67% of Americans now agree that all illegal aliens should be deported. This is a never before seen statistic. So Wendy, yes, they can overplay their hands. Yes, we can come together to fix problems and live together in harmony. Of course we can. We just maybe have to go through a rough period. This has been a rough patch.
Yes. Yeah. I think we've got a divorce coming up. I know, I feel you 100%. All right.